RE4 Remake leaks. They have been out for a few weeks now, and we have to go over these leaks, and I will be going over these leaks with you guys, and I'll be telling you the best possibility of the leak and just the straight up bullshit of the leak. In other words, I will help you decide if these are real or false, etc. Now first I want to cross off the factual leaks off the list just to make things a little bit more squeezier and tighter. Keep in mind these leaks were actually revealed a few weeks ago, which was actually right before the trailer, I believe so. But yeah, there's a few things here that actually do make sense and actually add up. The first thing I want to cross off the list, there is a new voice actor who sounds like Paul but younger and less gruff. This is confirmed in the trailer. You know, I think it's the original voice actor for RE2 Remake. This is a fact, and honestly I prefer the original voice actor, Paul Mercier. I think his voice for Leon is the best, but hey, to each their own. You know, this new Leon is carrying over into RE4 Remake. Let's see how this guy does. The night portion of the village is longer, which is confirmed fact. Even in the trailer, the whole atmosphere is dark and way scarier looking than the original. The first house of the trailer, which is the first house in the game, even is placed at dark or early morning. So yeah. Next, we're going to cover some false, leaks in here that are already false from the get-go. So there's one leak that states that, Ashley, she still wears the same skirt, and he says no, she's wearing jeans and the same sweater, which is kind of true and kind of not true. So she does wear jeans in the trailer, but it's not the same sweater. The release date of the game is very likely to be in early mid-December of 2022, with the reveal in late August to mid-December. Again, this leak is also not true, even though I wish it was, because damn, I can't wait for this remake. Now comes the rest of the leaks, which are pretty juicy and fat, but keep in mind these are just leaks, take everything with a grain of salt. These are open to speculation, and are kind of subjective, so this is all based on your opinion and what you believe. But here we go. The basic gameplay is extremely similar to the Resident Evil 3 remake. Again, believable, all the remakes recently have had similar gameplay mechanics and movement mechanics, so yeah, that's true. Ashley no longer follows Leon throughout levels. Instead, she hides inside special save rooms. Devs wanted to avoid player frustration with AI. Oh man, can you just imagine if this were true? This I don't believe. The original AI wasn't even that bad. It was just the annoyance of her constantly screaming. In today's modern age with our new technology, I don't think an AI system would work out that bad that you gotta keep Ashley in the save room and go back and get her. Come on, let's be real here, Capcom. The merchant returns untouched. Yes, my boy returns and he's still pristine. Yes, lore was planned to be established but was cut to keep him mysterious. However, he does now have a Spanish accent. Oh god, here we go. What is it with every remake that they just have to get a new voice actor for everything? The original merchant is so iconic, he just has a perfect charm with his Australian accent. Why do they make it Spanish? But yet again, I do believe this one because Capcom just like to use different voice actors all the time. But hey, at the end of the day, he has an Australian accent as he's in a Spanish village. Everyone else speaks Spanish in the village, so he kind of stands out. But that's what gave him his charm. But I do kind of believe this one, unfortunately. Krauser has been cut from the game for being overly confusing. The developers felt the lack of establishing lure for him and Leon's comrade dynamics makes him out of place. First of all, he was pretty random in the game. He just kind of comes out of nowhere, no backstory, no real good introduction. So this, I'm not gonna believe this one. First of all, to completely cut him out is just lazy. There's so many possibilities to bring him back, and with a good introduction and good lore back into the remake. So this one I am not gonna believe, and it's not because I don't want to believe it. I really don't want to believe it. It's just lazy. Capcom goes by the whole slogan, yes we do it. So yes, you can bring Krauser back. There's no lazy development place for you, Capcom, here when you have a slogan embracing yes we do it. Luis has had his character vastly expanded, makes sense. Replacing Krauser, doesn't make sense. He helps Leon and Ashley treat their plaga infections with medication, just like in the original. At the point in the game where Luis was originally killed, he's implanted with a much more powerful plaga that controls the nervous system entirely, and Luis mutates into a Birkin-like creature from RE2 Remake, begins pursuing Leon throughout the remainder of the castle. This is believable. Every single remake in the past has had a stalker enemy role, and I wouldn't be surprised to see another one here in RE4 Remake. Luis is fully lucid, begging Leon to stop him. He mutates continuously, and is eventually killed on the island. This more powerful Plaga is responsible for a new type of enemy in the castle. Yes, we need some new enemies. This I like. This I also believe. Rather than sprouting a Plaga throughout the head like in the original, some enemies will have their upper half body fall apart, mutating similar to Luis. Again, somewhat believable. Garradors are one such enemy that will use this new Plaga, as they no longer have a functional face or head. Not that they ever did to begin with. I mean, they were blind and they didn't really know where the hell they were going.
Just passing by. How's it going? You smell Leon in here? I don't fucking think so. Alright, I'm gonna go patrol over here now. You got any quarters? No?
So it's pretty believable. The castle has been expanded, very believable. Salazar is no longer a dwarf, instead he's sickly frail and walks with a cane. I mean, did anybody look at him and think he was normal in the first place? He's a pretty sick, twisted dude anyway. But yeah, that's also believable. His personality is exactly the same. Ashley's segment has been entirely reworked. I mean, duh, it is a remake. Leon collapses due to his infection while midway through the castle, forcing Ashley to take his pistol from his shoulder. RE2 remake reference when Leon gets shot and Ada takes over and, you know, has her own little side quest. Very believable. You know, I cannot just stress enough how freaking brilliant this is to have him actually struggle and battle demons throughout the game. This was originally planned for Leon in the beta, and there was just something about it that just looked so damn good. So I'm glad they're going to bring it back. I do believe this leak, and just him struggling and battling demons just opens a whole door of possibilities for new enemies, hallucinations, and just great content for this game. So yeah, this one I do believe, and it is a fucking good one. Anyway, she retrieves medication they dropped while running from Salazar's right hand. During this segment, Ashley becomes more sure of herself, gets familiar with pairing, and recovers the medication, reviving Leon. In other words, she goes through puberty. At a very late age, I may add, because she is apparently over 20 in this game. Anywho, the Novice segment has been removed. Instead, Leon must fight a pursuer enemy called the Jester, a prisoner who has been locked below the castle, infected with an original Plaga. She's been alive for centuries, meaning she is sickly mutated and uses a spear to hunt you. Can you just imagine her overall aura and vibe entering the dungeon? You know, seeing somebody locked down for centuries, that's fucking terrifying. I do like this idea, but there is some problems with this. First of all, I kind of don't believe this one. There is a point in this article that he states that, you know, this game is only coming to next gen. The PS4 in particular was struggling with FPS with the Novistadors in bulks. So in other words, when the Novistadors came and there was so many of them, the game would lag. And this I kind of don't believe, because I mean, the whole village entirely, the first segment of the game, you get a bunch of Ganados rushing the fuck out of you. So why would Novistadors be any different? So this one is up for speculation for sure, although that new enemy does sound pretty interesting. The Ada encounter is roughly the same, but she is less standoffish. Roughly the same. Ouch, Leon. It looks like Ada doesn't give a fuck about you, because you obviously cried over her when you dropped her over 1,000 feet in RE2 Remake, and you guys shared that kiss. I mean, whatever happened to that? I mean, I would follow up on a second date if I were you, Leon, but yeah, that's kind of rubbish. But anyways, she assists you by pointing her laser ahead of you while navigating the hedge maze to point out upcoming enemies. That's the least you can do, Ada, after all this time that I mourned you? No, I don't believe this at all. First of all, you know, the whole premise of the hedge maze is to terrify you. I mean, I remember playing this as a kid, going through the hedge maze and just being so nervous and so scared to hit a corner. You know, it's just very nerve-breaking. It's very, very intense in the hedge maze. So this I don't believe, and I hope they don't mess up. The island has been almost entirely converted into being a lab segment. Yes, very good. You know, I played RE4 so many times, probably 50 story playthroughs. And you know, I always have that feeling like, ugh, you know, we're getting to the island. You know, after the regenerators, it's just kind of like, ugh. So yeah, it is roughly untouched compared to the original game's regenerator segment, but is majorly extended. The last 30 minutes are a long chase sequence. The first part is roughly translated truck sequence from the original game's island, ending with the encounter against Sadler. This sounds kind of dumb. But hey, chase sequences, if done right, are pretty good. I mean, have you played Uncharted 4? The ending of the game is roughly the same, but Wesker is more prominent. And that is very good. I would love for a Leon and fucking Wesker encounter. That is just something that a lot of people have wanted for a very long time. That's great. I hope they cut Krauser for Wesker. If they do cut Krauser, that's what I would replace with Krauser. Maybe that's why this is happening. Maybe that's why they cut him. Ada boards an Apache now with Wesker on board. Leon still escapes via a jet ski. Sweet. Mercenaries returns, which is a must. And apparently Luis is replacing Krauser as a playable character in the Mercenaries. There was something I was meant to point out earlier in the video. So Leon briefly hallucinates the Hookman, which was something from the beta, when he collapses after defeating the Del Lago swamp monster. It's a callback, but nothing else. So this, I hope, is real, and in my opinion is 80% real, if you can take that as an answer, because there's like so much inspiration being thrown in this game from the beta. There's a lot of content from the beta being inspired and translated into this remake. Next up, every unlock from the original game is included, and yes, that means the freaking hand cannon, the Chicago typewriter, the PRL, you know, all the good stuff. That's a green to go, that's a good. There are no OG outfits because Leon's design is essentially the same. That makes no sense. If there's no freaking Mafia outfit for Leon in this remake, I'm gonna lose my shit. But hey, I am a PC console gamer, so that's not a problem for us. You know, we'll get a mod in there ASAP. Now next up, he states that the most important element and development of the game has been the game's overall tone, which is believable. From the trailers, you can already tell the whole tone and atmosphere is completely different from the original. Leon's personality in this remake, according to the leak, is a continuation of Leon in RE2, which I wasn't a big fan of, but at the end of the day, he was a rookie cop and he was kind of a soy boy, so I hope they don't make him a soy boy in this remake. But yeah, he's gonna be more dedicated, more brave, less naive, and he's going to be more hardened by combat. This could mean the end of bingo and funny puns, but hey, I don't have a big problem with that as long as they make the game more serious and dramatic and emotional toned. Speaking of personalities, we got to talk about Ashley's personality because according to the leak, it's going to be similar to the original RE4. She just learns to be more confident under the watch of Leon, which, hey, does make sense. I want to drag you back to Salazar because this leak page is really inconsistent and all over the place. But yeah, he still mutates into a creature that hides within a pod, requiring a much larger, similar monster, possibly Ashley, to be stunned before he becomes vulnerable. The battle still occurs at the top of the tower, which is good, pretty believable, common sense, not really a huge leak there. At one point, Salazar reveals that he did help develop the injection gun that is implanted in Leon's neck at the beginning of the game. So hey, if you guys want to press charges on somebody entirely, you can hit up your boy Salazar and take him to court, Amber Heard style. And yeah, you can even find a home on the outskirts of the village where he was occupied at one point. So that's interesting. Salazar having another little house outside of his huge castle. I mean, this is probably his come up, you know, maybe he lived in the hood and then he moved into the giant castle. No, but seriously, pretty believable. More backstory, more hidden notes possibly, more interesting secrets about the characters. Yeah, believable and a good move. Back to combat, Leon uses his forearm to deflect an oncoming melee attack, leaving the enemy open for another melee attack. Melee attacks can be performed against enemies who have been successfully parried. In other words, you know, shot in the head or in the leg. But yeah, it's the same amount of action, but just definitely scarier, which is 100% true and believable. Just look at the trailer. The upgrade system is essentially the same, and most guns are the same. The semi-auto rifle is now a more grounded G3 rifle, and the Silver Ghost returns as a handgun, which is confirmed in the trailer. You can see Leon's Silver Ghost. But yeah, and apparently this game began production in 2018, which is believable. There was a lot of leaks regarding that. Man, 2018? Jesus, that was a fun year for me. I can't believe at the time I was partying and doing all these crazy things, RE4 Remake was being produced in the background of the world I was living in 2018. That's fucking amazing. But yeah, you know, the statue of Salazar still remains. This time it's being controlled via a gigantic plaga, and the chase sequence can be prevented by using a difficult to find switch on the back of its neck. You can only see the parasite inside if you look carefully, that is, until it begins moving. This is believable, but I mean, some of these leaks make me really question Capcom. I mean, they're saying that they're cutting Krauser, but they're keeping the gigantic fucking statue of Salazar. That does not make any sense at all. A lot of people want that cut because they don't really think it adds anything to the story, and in general it's just outrageous, like a 100-foot statue chasing you, really. But anyways, like I said, these leaks are up for speculation. Believe them if you want. The fact that they included the statue still gives me good hope that they won't cut out a lot of good things. But yeah, in the end, it seems like Leon is more caring and tender towards Ashley, which is really believable, and it's a good move, you know. Make the story more emotional, more serious toned in some bits, but just keep that action and horror. That's what we love about RE4, baby. But yeah, that's all the stuff I have for today's video. It was a long video. The leak list is entirely huge, and I'm not really used to, you know, providing so much talking regarding certain subjects all in one crammed video. So apologies if you didn't make it to the end, but if you're still here, hey bro, you know, that's what's up. I commend you, I salute to you, I will donate to your funeral. But yeah, that's all the content for today, guys. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe. You know, I will be posting more content as the game gets updated, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time.